Hello, unlimited friends. It's Zara back again with Q&A about the law of attraction and its application in practical ways to our lives. The question today comes from Elena, and it is about her relationship with her mother. Let me read the question out to you. So she says, when I grew up, my mom was cleaning and cooking and working, and our performance was very important to her. So I went to good schools and learned languages and did sports. She did her best for us, and it was hard for her with two kids, and my dad wasn't a big help. But she was never nice with us, and she never told us she loved us. On the opposite, she was yelling, and every Sunday evening she was yelling she can't do it anymore, and she cannot stand us, and that she wanted to go to work, or if I would spill milk or something like that, she would ask, "Who let you into this house?" I was 3 years old, for example, and I couldn't understand what she meant. Who let me in this house? Wasn't this my home? Didn't I belong here, or was I a stranger? So I grew up with the deep conviction that my mom didn't want me nor love me, and it was a hard burden for a child. My physical needs were met, but not my emotional. Now I myself have kids, and I see how hard it is, and I understand her. And even though I think I have forgiven her, and I don't hold resentment, and I understand she really did what she thought was the best at the time, and now I have a good education and a good job, but I still have those deep hurting wounds that I am neither loved nor wanted. My question is, how do you think I can heal? What do I need to do? Elena, thank you so much for your question. I really appreciate it. And I don't know how many people listening to this, watching this just now, would agree with you. There are so many of us who did not feel loved by our parents when we were younger. And as we grow older and understanding does set in of the challenges that our parents were confronted with, but the hurt doesn't go away unless you do something about it. So, Elena, what I want to say to you first of all is you've been telling yourself a story. You've basically been telling yourself a story for a very long time. Who knows how many years? That you are not loved. That your parents, your mother specifically considers you a problem. And you're just a burden. But already a change has taken place. Since you've had your own children, you now realize the pressures that your mother was under. And so now you are stepping into that role and you're understanding it. Here's the thing though. You are stepping into a situation exactly like her situation. Why do you think that is? Well, it is because it's something that you've given your attention to. So you now have contrast because you're realizing and you're wanting to be different. And I'm pretty sure that you are a different mother from her. I'm pretty sure that you make your children feel loved. Here's what I want you to understand, sweetheart. Love is a vibration, it is not an action. Somewhere in your childhood, that got mixed up. And it's easy for us to mix it up. In fact, it's easy for our children to mix it up as well, because on social media, on television, on the internet, there is a portrayal of what love is. And that portrayal of love is action dependent. Love is the actions that they show you people take when they are in love. But that doesn't mean that someone who does not take those actions does not love. In fact, think about it. Is love the action or is love a vibration? Do you think, Elena, if I ask you this question, do you think that if you were not able to provide all the comforts that you currently provide to your children, and you were constrained from acting in a way that makes them feel loved, in the sense that you can't kiss them and you can't hug them, do you think that your love would have gone away? And do you think that your children would not feel loved anymore? I can tell you that this has actually been a reality for a lot of people going through the pandemic, where they were not able to visit with their grandchildren or see their children if their children were away at school. So, did the children stop believing that they were loved? No. But the action of hugging and kissing was not there. And if you look at past times where people used to go away from home and there was no internet, there was not even phone at that point in time. Letters used to take a couple of months to get from one continent to another continent. So, do you think that people thought that there was no love just because someone had gone overseas? I've actually witnessed that with my grandmother. We did have a phone. She had a phone in her house. But international calls, you used to book a call and it was only 3 minutes. And it was expensive. So, did my uncles who had left home and gone to the US for their education, did they feel unloved? Not at all. Did my grandmother feel that they didn't love her anymore? Not at all. Love is not an action, it is the vibration. In fact, your mother showed you how much she cared because in her mind she made so many sacrifices for you because she cared. And so, what you need to do is to start telling a different story. You have been telling the story from a perspective of a hurt child who didn't know any better. Now you need to tell a different story. And when you tell that different story and you start believing that different story, you will start seeing that even though she was not a demonstrative parent, she was a loving parent. And it doesn't matter that you didn't feel loved when you were a kid, because you're not any worse off for it today. This whole love business, we make too much about it because you see, love is not something we should be looking for from anyone else regardless. The Abraham calls it looking for love in all the wrong places. Real, actual love is self-love, self-worth. I don't need your love, Mom, because I'm good enough. I don't care that you don't care for me. I'm good enough. And I know that you did not have that attitude, but I can also tell you that there are a lot of children who do have that attitude. All right, so Elena, you see, there are two types of children, the sponge and the duck. The sponge is a child who is very intuitive about vibration, and whenever the parent is not feeling good, the child feels that vibration of the parent and creates reasons in their head why the parent is upset. and they make it about themselves. Oh, mother is upset because of me. Whereas mother might be upset about something else. She might just be taking it out on you. But she might be upset because of something that someone else has said to her or something else that has happened in her day. Now, the other type of child, the duck lets it fall off their feathers, does not absorb any of it, whereas the sponge absorbs all of it. The duck says, "Oh, you're not feeling good? What's bothering you? Can I help you with something?" And the mother will say, "No, go away." And the child will go away. And the story the duck will tell in their heads is, "She doesn't want my help. I'm going to go and play." Whereas the sponge will sit and be miserable because the sponge thinks that it's all because of them, that it has something to do with them. And so I think that you've spent your childhood being a sponge. And I want you to know that it's totally all right. It does not matter what sort of a child you were, whether you were a sponge or a duck. You now have the ability to become a duck. And becoming a duck will serve you extremely well. Because I know and I can feel out your energy, Elena, that this thing that has played out between you and your mother is also playing out in your other relationships. You are a sponge towards your colleagues, you are a sponge towards your husband, you are a sponge towards your children and all your other relationships. So it would be really helpful for you to start telling a different story. Give a different reason. And it has to be a reason that you believe. With respect to your mother, you've already come to the conclusion that she had a lot going on and you have forgiven her. But you're still feeling unloved. But I want to remind you that love is not a two-way street. Love is a one-way street. If you want to love your mother, you can love your mother. It has nothing to do with whether or not she returns your love. But I will tell you something. The vibration of love is a magnet. And if you were to send a vibration of love out into the universe towards your mother, you will see her returning your love. It will take time, but it is law. Whatever you send out comes back to you. And you can absolutely heal the wounds that you've got, because remember, you're the one who created the wound. You're the one who injured yourself by telling yourself a story that did not serve you. And those healing happens when you start telling a different story. Actual physical healing happens the same way. For someone who has a body condition that they would like to heal, they have to start telling a different story. Instead of saying, there's pain in my body and it hurts and I'm uncomfortable because of it, they can change the way they talk about the pain. As Abraham says, you can talk about any situation from a place of hope or from a place of absence of hope. So, pain or hope for recovery, they are two different stories. I'm feeling pain because my body is not working, or I'm feeling pain because the cells of my body are asking for healing and healing is on its way. Two ways to look at the same thing. And you can do that with your mother. Your pain is because you didn't feel loved. But you see, you were looking for love in all the wrong places. The real love that you want is your love for you. So, tell a different story. I'm hurt because I did not feel love. And I'm hurt because I did not love myself. I did not love myself enough to say, I care, but not that much. I'm going to flourish and thrive whether I feel love from you or not, because love is a one-way street. So, Elena, I hope that this discussion helps you to resolve things between you and your mother, and I would love for you to send me an email to let me know. All right, bye for now.